The new here at 10 o'clock, hundreds of millions in funding will now be coming to South Carolina. It's part of a $26 billion national settlement with 4 pharmaceutical companies over the role they played in the opioid crisis. The opioid abuse is still a major problem today. In fact, experts believe 4 out of every 5 heroin addicts started by abusing opioids.
The hope is this funding will be a step towards addressing what is a growing problem here in our state. Fox Carolina's Prelutsky live in studio tonight after sitting down with the chair of the newly formed board about what this funding could do.
Yeah, Tori and Justin, well, this committee is made up of 9 people from all around the state who have experience in opioid treatment and intervention. Now, the chair is Eric Bedingfield, a former state representative who lives right here in Greenville and currently works at Greenville Tech. And opioid addiction is an issue he's seen firsthand. Hundreds of millions of dollars in the fight against the opioid epidemic being placed in the hands of a carefully picked group.
Overall idea is to reduce the rate of death and the rate of overdose.
Created by the legislature this year, the South Carolina Opioid Recovery Fund Board is made up of appointees serving 4- or 6-year terms. This board is in charge of managing and distributing any money that comes in from opioid-related settlements. Eric Bedingfield will lead it.
There's just a myriad of opportunities for us to impact the public in lots of different places just based on these dollars.
Bedingfield lost his son about 6 years ago to a fentanyl overdose and knows firsthand the pain and struggle addiction can cause.
All I know is I want to see each and every one of those dollars have the ability to impact positively the lives of people in South Carolina.
As money comes in, organizations or agencies that deal with addiction or recovery related to the opioid epidemic can apply for money from the board. The board will also spend money itself. Bedingfield says it could be used to buy more Narcan, a medication that reverses overdoses, and provide training on how to use it. Other options for funding include medication-assisted treatment programs and making sure healthcare providers are trained to deal with opioid use disorder, just to name a few.
I don't believe there's a panacea right now to solve the problem, and that's why we need to cast a pretty wide net and allow people to gravitate to the things that help them as an individual.
The national settlement will oversee the board. It gave out guidelines for how the money should be spent. The guidelines are broad, but if the settlement feels they aren't being met, it can appeal and potentially withhold the funding. On a state level, Bedingfield hopes this will send a message to those struggling in South Carolina.
We're here, we're ready to help. We want to do what it takes to make a difference.
Now, Bedingfield says there is a strong possibility more opioid-related settlements will happen over the next decade or so, meaning more money for both the board and the state of South Carolina. Now, the SCORF board, as it's called, met for the first time earlier this summer. Justin?